everyone, welcome back to my channel. I just wanted to give everyone a little bit of a career update. I also wanted to talk about the designs that I have in the new Brooklyn Tweed collection, and I also wanted to mention some appearances that I have coming up. So if you're interested in finding out about all those things, then just keep on watching. So first I wanted to talk about my big career update. It's not that big. But last year I decided to resign from the Brooklyn Tweed design team. We had worked on all the collections that were coming up last fall, this past winter, and this Yokes collection. So this is the last collection I'm going to be involved with. It has been an absolutely amazing ride. I love Jared, I love Brooklyn Tweed, and it has been an amazing 5 years. I just wanted to say thank you to Jared and the whole Brooklyn Tweed team, present and past. They have been, amazing. They have basically made me the designer that I am today, and I could not have asked for a better company to be associated with, to work with, to be a part of. It's just been absolutely amazing. And I just wanted to come on here and just talk about it a little bit, because I didn't want any I didn't want any rumors to get started, or, I don't know, just gossip to start. It was absolutely all on good terms. It was just something I felt like I needed to do for my career. I'd been there for 5 years, and I just thought, it was time to move on, to kind of grow as a creative. I thought, let's do this sort of hard, uncomfortable thing and, leave this chapter and maybe try and start something new and see what other opportunities are out there. It was also a time where my life was going through a bit of change. I had not yet at that point decided that we were moving to Las Vegas, but I knew something was going to have to happen in New York. Anyway, a few months after I decided to leave Brooklyn Tweed, we decided to leave New York, and it all sort of seemed to make sense for me at that time. So anyway, thank you, Jared. Thank you, Brooklyn Tweed. I learned so much, and I can't thank Jared enough for everything that he has taught me and passed on to me and shared with me. He is a wonderful person. He's the best. If any of you have met him, I know you would agree. So anyway, so that's my big career update. It's not that big of a deal. Anyway, so this is the last collection I am involved with, which is so bittersweet. It's sort of like, yay, like I'm ending this chapter, I'm moving on, but it's like, this is the last collection that I'm involved in. It's a little bit sad. So the Yokes collection is the special collection that the design team likes to do. So we do, the fall and the winter, which has broad themes or whatever, and then Jared always wanted to do a special collection in the spring that's a little bit more, has like a little bit more of a specific theme to it. So this year's specific theme was Yokes, and I have to tell you, most of us on the team, Julie, Hoover, myself, I know even Jared, we are really big on on seaming and seamed garments. We just think that they look better, they hold up better. None of us mind finishing or anything like that. So when Jared said Yokes, to me that meant, oh, sweaters knitting around, like that's what needs to happen. So oh my god, okay, the UPS truck just came by. If you guys watch me on Snapchat, you know how much I love packages. Oh my god. Oh, I wonder what that is. I don't know what I ordered. So at first, when I saw that Yokes was the theme for this collection, I was a little bit like, oh shit. Oh boy, what am I gonna do? But I kind of sat down. I had a talk with myself, and I remember when I first started knitting, way in the beginning, before I designed, before I did sample knitting, the idea of a seamless yoke sweater was magical. I mean, completely and totally magical. And I don't know if you guys remember, but Uni Jang, who's the former editor-in-chief of Interweave Knits, she designed something, I think before she became editor, called the Tangled Yoke cardigan. That wasn't obviously knit in the round because it was a cardigan, but it was knit seamlessly in one piece, flat. But that the idea of the whole yoke part being like one piece, it was like mind blown. I was like, what? What's going to happen? What do you mean? What do you mean I just start knitting across the sleeves and across the back? Like, I was really, really, really enamored with the idea. And so I made that cardigan. I loved it. You know, I wore it. It was a little bit big. You know, since then I started sample knitting and I started designing, and I started to really appreciate pieced garments. I really started to appreciate seams because that tangled yoke cardigan just continued to grow and grow and grow. And anyway, so, you know, I had this like deep conversation with myself, and I remembered that feeling that I had when I learned about yokes. So I said, Michelle, just get back into it. Get back into that magical part of knitting. And I still find yokes done in the round, or seamlessly, I should say, to be so cool. You know, even designing this, I thought, wow, this is just sort of, you know, like a designer's dream, a knitter's dream. You know, you just keep going and going and going and stockinette. I don't know for sure, but I think most yokes or seamless garments were knit in the round because of stranded knitting. No one really likes to do stranded knitting on the back side, on the wrong side, and that was sort of what kind of started the seamless craze. I could be wrong. I think one thing has to do with the other. You know, the idea of color work was also something that I thought needed to be incorporated into the yokes. So I designed basically one sweater, a women's version and a men's version of the same sweater. It's just a crew neck pullover. It's called Schultz for obvious reasons. It looks like the Charlie Brown t-shirt that he wore. But my inspiration for this sweater was partly Charlie Brown, but also partly a sweater that I basically saw on a woman getting coffee when I was sitting down in the village. I was at Who Kitchen, which is one of my favorite spots, and I was sitting there eating, and she was getting coffee and kind of, you know, doing her thing and waiting at the coffee bar or whatever. And I just was staring at her sweater, and her zigzags were in a much smaller, at a much smaller scale. Mine are pretty big. But I thought, I just really like that. You know, it's modern, but it still has sort of a traditional feel to it. And it was just simple. You know, it just had the little zigzags. And I believe her sweater only had them around the bottom. So I thought, oh, I'll do it at the bottom, I'll do it at the yoke. Done. And you can just, you know, with those three colors, you could play around with whatever colors you wanted. You know, I would probably end up doing like a gray, cream, black, you know, or just like 3 gray values or something. But of course, for Brooklyn Tweed and for the color lovers out there and for the photos, we wanted to do sort of bright, fun colors. And I just love, love, love those 2 colors, Cinnabar, which is the women's version, and Tartan, which is the men's version. Those are like relatively new shelter colors, and I just love them. They're, you know, they're bright without being obnoxious, and they're still, I don't know, true to Brooklyn Tweed. They have that sort of traditional feel to them, but they're not, I don't know, old-fashioned, if you will. So those are my, the 2 sweaters that I designed, well, 1 sweater that I designed for men and women. And then I also did a cowl, which is in more sort of typical colors of mine, which is wood smoke and cast iron. 2 of, I think, probably my 2 favorite Brooklyn Tweed colors, that and fossil, of course. But that one was just sort of, I kind of got the idea from like a sampler. If you look at like cross-stitch samplers, they have a lot of these sort of little itty-bitty, you know, diamonds, little flower thing, a little snowflake. So I wanted to incorporate that into a yoke, into, yeah, some sort of yoke. And we thought it would just be really fun as a cowl because, you know, be a relatively quick knit. If you're not that familiar with stranded knitting, you know, it's not that intimidating. You could do it. And yeah, and I just like, you know, that even when the cowl is scrunched up, you still see most of the patterning. So that is Morse is the name of the cowl pattern. So there you have it. That is the Yokes collection, or the 3 pieces that I did for the Yokes collection. I love this whole collection. I think all the pieces are so cool. They're so Brooklyn tweed, you know, they're steeped in tradition with the whole idea of a yoke, but completely modern for today's knitter. Yeah, I hope you enjoy them. So just as a reminder, I have a few appearances coming up that I wrote down. That is not in front of me. Okay, I have them. So I'm going to be at Spun in Ann Arbor on Saturday, March 18th from 1 to 3. So that's just a, you know, book signing appearance. Come hang out, come say hi. I'd love to meet you all. I'm also going to be at Vogue Knitting Live in Vegas. I'm actually doing a 1-hour lecture on Sunday, March 26th. And I believe it's at 12:30, so from 12:30 to 1:30. And then on April 7th, which is a Friday, I will be at Tolt in Carnation, Washington, outside of Seattle. And I'm going to be like hosting a knit night. So Anna, the owner of Tolt, and I decided that it would be fun to, you know, not really do a class or anything, but, you know, for people to get to know me or ask me questions or just sit and chat or just chill or just let's just knit together. I just thought that would be so much more fun, especially on a Friday night. You know, if you're gonna come straight from work, who wants to sit in a class? Let's like, no, I wouldn't want to do it. I would just want to sit there and knit. So anyway, oh, that's so rude. I'm so sorry. So that is Tolt, Friday night, April 7th. Come hang out, come knit. You do not have to be knitting something of mine. I will not be offended. Don't feel like you have to. But yeah, I'll just be there to hang out and just knit with you guys. So that's it. So that's the update and collection and my life and blah, blah, blah. Hope you enjoyed that. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I will probably have like a floating head of mine right up here in a circle. It's a very weird YouTube thing, so don't blame me. Weird floating head. Hit that to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.